Mic on? Yep. Okay. Welcome, campaigners. This is that. I am that guy Cross. This is Campaign Terrain. Welcome to my basement. Tonight's going to be super chill. I got a couple of things to wrap up from last week's build, where I'm just going to show it off because I actually finished it during the week. I've got a couple of tips and tricks to tell, literally 2, and then I've got a bunch of stuff I'm going to be dry brushing, which I haven't prepared for. So let me take care of that while I'm talking about a couple things. First, let me turn the volumes down on my phone so that that doesn't bother us. And then I will jump right into it. First, if it is your first time coming, welcome. I am glad to have you here. If you have been here 100 times, you are now one of my returning campaigners, and I'm always glad to have you here. Either way, I love you. Thanks for coming, and let's jump into it. Okay, first, these are for a different project. I'm going to put those in my pocket so I don't forget to take them to the upstairs out of the basement. All right, I have been playing around with some different things, so I'm going to try. I always think this looks really yellow, so I'm going to try like a light blue. Oh, it doesn't want to change color. All right, well, we'll work on that later. Speaking of lighting, I did add one other light off in this way, so there's not the big black hole that was over here like there was last week. This was last 2 weeks. This has just been dark and sinister and blah. Okay, let me get this out of the way, grab a couple of paintbrushes. Meanwhile, let me toss the thing up here on the screen. These are my patrons, and they make the channel go, so huge shout out to them. Dungeon Matron has a fun Discord to hang out at. It's her only real social presence. We hang out there on various Wednesdays and Saturday afternoons, early afternoon her time in California, late afternoon my time here in on the East Coast. And so if you ever want to hang out there, you can either come to my Discord and hang out, because I do that a couple times a week, just chilling, or you can go to her Discord. Links for both are in the down below. So let me grab some paintbrushes real quick. The second one is Patrick Walther, longtime supporter of the channel. Huge shout out to Patrick. Thank you. And the third one is Digital Calibrator. And like Digital Calibrator is both supports me on Patreon, which I just can't even believe, and is also a real world friend that comes over and helps with some stuff sometimes. So big shout out to all 3 of them. Much love. Let's get into this. All right. So I've been cleaning and straightening, still recovering from the plumbing fiasco. If you know what's going on with that, you know. If not, you can ask me on the Discord. I've been finding things that I completely couldn't find, but I still can't find my stinking magnets. I got those little tiny magnets, and I have no idea where they are. I promise my shirt is not this dirty. It just looks weird on camera. This is a little dirty. Yeah, whatever. It's a crafting shirt. I found my little... Oh, you're not going to be able to see that at all. Let me switch to the other. Oh, there you can. This is a hole punch that punches out little tiny leaves. Let me switch to the other camera because we're going to need that in a minute anyway. All right. And this was about $2 or $3 from, I don't know, some Chinese site. I don't remember which one. I don't like to use like just a green paper or brown paper for summer or winter leaves. What I like to do is I take a Post-it note, which already has some yellow in it, and some sticky note. Doesn't matter if it's Post-it note. Sticky note, yellow, and I take either green markers, red or orange markers, or brown markers, and just streak across it so that it's not uniform, and then just go crazy punching a bunch of leaves out. And those look great for either spring and summer or fall foliage. And you can get these. Just look up leaf hole punch, and you'll find them. They have them on lots of different Chinese, the little Chinese sites. This was like $2.50. Now, I realize there's some issues going on with the Chinese sites. So I don't know how easily you can get them, but I'm sure they're on Amazon as well. Okay, let's get to the tips and tricks. Lately, I have been seeing several people take cheese graters. That side that's got the little star-shaped holes that make the little tiny fine grit when you grind things up, and they have used this stuff. This is floral foam. That's the kind that's really super squishy. If I squeeze this, it'll leave fingerprints in it. It'll leave thumbprints and stuff. This is the really soft stuff. Sometimes this is called Oasis. I've also seen it called Waterfall. I don't know why it's called Waterfall. It just sits in a bowl of water. Don't use this. Do not use this. The only thing this is good for in crafting is if you are using it for bulk and you're covering it with other things. This is literally made of formaldehyde. This is a carcinogen. And I see people, I've seen, no kidding, like 4 different people lately take this and grind it up to use it. Do not do that. There you go. That's my safety beacon. I'm not your mom. If you do it, you do it. That's fine, whatever. But don't. It's literally a carcinogen, and you grind it up. And all of them have said, yeah, wear your breather. Yeah, no, just don't. That's my first tip and trick. Just don't use that. My second tip and trick for the night is I have one of these little miter boxes. Use my razor saw. Why it's called a razor saw, I have no idea. Maybe just because it's so thin. But anyway, it's not a razor. It's actually a saw. You can see the blade. There's different types for different materials. This is a Japanese style, which means it's got a draw cut, not a push cut. And it will fit into all my little angles here. Now, I've seen some people drill holes in these, or I think some of these even come with holes, and they screw them down. But the screw heads stick up, and that way if you're sliding things through, it'll get caught on. So what I did is I just used a bunch of double stick and stuck it to this, and it makes it more stable for cutting. So if you've ever used one of these and you're trying to get your hand on that, especially at bigger hands like I do, and you're trying to hold this little thing in place and hold them, just attach this. If I had a longer piece, I would have used it, but this is the offcut I had. So I just double stick on there. You could put it straight onto a workbench if you got that kind of space, but I never have that space. So there you go. That's my second tip and trick of the night. All right. And I think that is all I have for the tips and tricks. Got anybody else out there? Let's see. Oh, loosely collected. Nice. Mrs. Lynn, hello. Did you stick them on the plate in your head? Yes, that's exactly where the magnets are. No, I've looked. I've scratched even by the wound when I had the car wreck, and I still have the scar on my head. They're not even there. I do not know where my magnets are. I know where piles of magnets are. I have a whole box of magnets, but my little itty-bitty expensive ones that I specifically went out of the way to order that I want to put on the bottom of minis so I can create a magnetic crafting a tabletop, so you can tilt it and they won't fall off. I can't find those anywhere. All of my other ones are too weak to really do that. Yeah, the real tree leaves last fall in Mesa. Yeah, I thought about doing that with the real tree leaves, and to be honest, for the last 2 years, I've thought about it, looked at them, been out in the yard when there are leaves, and been like, I don't feel like raking. I'll be honest, I just didn't feel like it raking it and then waiting for them to dry and all that. That would make them look very realistic. If those get dried out enough, you can just take those and crumble them small enough, and they look. Who knew that leaves look like leaves? But yeah, you can also use the hole punch and do that as well. I have not done that, but you can. Give me just a second. I'm going to step away for just a second. I'm going to put this on. I have a whole shelf of foliage. I'm going to go put this on my foliage shelf. So, meanwhile, oh, excuse me. Anybody else out there crafting or just hanging out? I'm literally going to talk about last week's build, and then I'm going to dry brush some stuff. That's all I'm doing tonight. So, all right. Oh, yeah. No problem. The plate in my head, it's not unlikely. If you ask a couple of other people, I used to ride a motorcycle. I technically still do ride a motorcycle. I just don't currently own one, and my license is expired, but technically I still know how to ride a motorcycle. And I have bashed my head into something in a wreck one time. So with a helmet on, because I'm not it's dumb. I mean, I'm a Floridian, but I'm not born there. I wear helmets, and yeah, so having a metal plate in my head is not outside the realm of possibility. Okay, so last week, as you know, I took some of the packaging foam. I didn't like the way that was looking. I didn't know if I was thinking just using this one, and then I decided that I didn't want to have to cover this up and all of that. Made the door. I may actually cut the door off of here. Anyway, whatever. So that's as far as I got with that. I didn't go any further than I did last week on this, but that gave me the basic idea. You got the edges. I got the other trim. I got the door. I got the general shape. So I decided that was big and chunky, and I didn't like it. And somewhere in there, I also decided that flat roof bad. I don't know this was originally designed to be an alien outpost on like a desert world, but there may still be weather, there may still be atmosphere, so having a completely flat roof seemed a bad idea. So I created another one. And this one, some of the corrugation looks bad, but even so, it still just looks like it's beat up and like the wind has been hitting it and stuff like that. So this is the one that I finished. There's some pictures on the Discord, so if you want to see better, go look there. But I put little windows on. I cut little window frames. These were a pain in the butt. I should have used a different type of card for these, but these are basic food card, and I just cut them down with a with the actual hobby knife type with the little point, and did not actually cut myself. I did come very, very close. I did cut through one of them and ended up having to remake it. I probably could have glued it in place, but they are very smooth as a frame, and I didn't want that line where I cut it at the corner. So I ended up actually having to make 5 of these little pieces. This piece and the window are the same. I simply painted one in my base gray and one in a darker gray. This is my normal base coat gray color, the window, and the outer one I had added white to make all of the lighter things. The shiny silvery parts on here are a product called Rub and Buff. I'm not sponsored, but I'm open to offers. And so it was really shiny, and the pictures that are on the Discord, it really shows that up. It's their thing. Since then, I have hit it with a black wash over the entire thing. I've made sure to get into all the nooks and crannies and got all that. As you can see, the door's got a window, and then I just decided these people are going to want to see out of the building. So I put other 3 little windows. I also attached, I don't know, air conditioner units, something. And I just made 2 of those. They're identical. These are a box of foam core that's been peeled, and then I stuck food card on it for these little, I don't know, panels, hatches, whatever. On one side, it's straight across. On one, I cut a little gap in it for whatever reason. Yeah, and then I decided that I didn't like it sitting straight down, so I made a platform. This is a box of just card that's cut to bend the same way I did these last week. And I made sure that the box was just the right size, folded up, stuck it in the bottom. So there's 2 of those, and those are identical. The Rub and Buff, this was my practice piece. You can see that the Rub and Buff takes a learning curve because I got this way too silvery shiny. So if I ever want to use this as like, you know, a standing stone or something like that, it's going to look a little weird. But after I got the black wash and all that into all the nooks and crannies, it ended up looking pretty good. So that's last week's project. For now, I'm going to take that, set it over here with the other one. I never do anything futuristic and spacey and stuff, so I will probably go to my friendly local game store, my FLGS, and I've got about 4 of them around here. One of them I know definitely has some tables where they have terrain. They have a shelf where they keep some terrain and such, and they have different buildings and things, and I will probably go in there and not tell them and literally just leave it on the shelf because I will never have use for it. I could try to do a giveaway and all of that, but to be honest, that seems a lot of headache. YouTube doesn't actually like you to do that, and that's most of my social feed is YouTube. And then to be honest, I don't have the money to ship it to somebody, so even if they won, they'd have to pay for it. So yeah, no, what are you gonna do? So yeah, the rest of this, I'm going to turn on a light over here so that I can see. That's going to be pretty bright, but that's all right. All right, so if you've been watching for several weeks, you saw me build. Why are you stuck? You weren't even wet. Why are you stuck? You were dry when I put the... Anyway, you saw me build all these little, they're called dungeon stackers. I got the idea originally from Runehammer, but found out after that he got the idea from Black Magic Craft, and Black Magic Craft got the idea from one of his viewers who sent him pictures and suggested it. So I call these Ryan bricks. I think that's his name, Ryan bricks. So anyway, dungeon stackers, and they can be done in lots of different ways. They little stairs, and you can stack them up how you need to. If you need a block, you got a block. If you need it to be more rectangular, you can just slide it this way. You can stack them on top of each other. You can make bridges. You can make buildings. You can make... I've shown all this before. So anyway, I've been working on those, and they need a final dry brush. That will bring out all of the last of the texture, plus hide some of the fact that where I very specifically left like streaks of paint and stuff. I mean, intentionally, that was the design I was going for. So do those. For my city blocks, I have been working on various streets and such, and I've been working on a 4x4 piece so that I can make different platforms. So far, I've only made one 4x4, but I do have 4 of the 4x4 format of the stairwells. So these are going to get dry brushed as well. I'd like to make all of my boxes so they can have storage in them. So that's going to be that. So I'm going to dry brush this. After I'm dry brushed it, like next week or during this week or whichever, I will be filling this with sand like I did on one of my streets so that it fills in all these little holes. But tonight I'm just going to dry brush the top of it. The sand is the last item. Technically the glue that holds the sand is the last item, but let's not nitpick. So that's where I'm at. I'm just dry brushing. All right, let me double check that the comments and see where we're at with this. All right. Don't need to be on that while I'm doing that. Let's go switch to here. And well, sorry, you're gonna have to deal with that light, but I'll try to stay over here out of it. We just got a lot of windblown leaves around us. Yeah, I have 2 big trees in the yard. One's in our yard, one's in the neighbor's yard, but like 60% of it hangs over our yard. So I have the chance to get a lot of leaves, but I simply haven't really thought about it in the last couple of years. Grab 1 or 2 here and there, pick decent colors or colors I like. Yeah, that's good. I always want to pick like garbage bags of stuff, and a handful of leaves will go a long way on miniature terrain, and I just never bothered to do it. I don't know. It's definitely the wrong time of year now. Get a mat cutter and cut thin strips of card. Then you can cut out pieces and fit them together and make rectangle squares. Yeah, that's a thing. I completely forget that I have this thing. This is a paper cutter. It will go through the food packaging card, and I am forever forgetting I have it. I'll go and cut a bunch of stuff, and I'll use a straight edge, and I'll lay it out, and I'll do that, and then I'll like, man, as soon as I'm done, I'm like, oh, right, I've got the thing. So I've got a thing. I just don't use the thing because I am like that sometimes. So yeah, this is you put the paper in here, you line it up to where you need it, and then there's a little blade on this thing that cuts sort of like a Cricut or whatever cutter, except, manual. I just never remember it. And it's right up here with my paper. So you'd think I'd remember because all my paper stuff's over there. But all my card stuff's, yeah, whatever. So let's see what else we got. This the last 2 weeks. Yeah, family stuff. Yeah, no, congratulations to your daughter. That's excellent. Yeah, family stuff always takes precedence. That's good. All right, so caught up on that. So loosely collected, Mrs. Lynn. Looks like I had 4 people at once, but they wandered off. Sometimes they're bots. Sometimes people don't know what to expect with my stuff, and that's fine. I don't know what to expect with my stuff most times. This time, 3 days ago, I was still like, yeah, I don't know. And then I saw specifically, I saw this one. It's like, oh, right, I've got a bunch of stuff I can dry brush. So that is what I will do. We'll be doing. Let me switch back to that camera. I now have the appropriate paint. This is my boom. This is the base coat I use. This is not house paint because I've only ever gotten house paint in the gray, but this is it's not really half. It's a bit of acrylic paint and a bunch of glue and then some water. So it makes it liquidy. So it's actually a little wet for dry brushing, but I have found that it tends to work. So let me get one of my little work boards. I never think to grab the round ones. Anyway, this will work. And I need a second card. I don't know where I set that other one. I had a piece earlier that had paint on it, but there it is. Okie dokie. And I will use that as my palette. Sometimes this stuff wants to, yep, it always tries to. This stuff up in here starts to dry, and I don't know why. I've got, let's use a straight pen. That'll work. Gotta get the goo out of here. You can see there's chunks. So There it is. Blob of paint right there. That's all the problem right there. All right, now wipe that off so I can use my pen later. All right. That's not going to be enough, so let's put a little bit more. That's probably enough. If not, well, I've got more. All right, so start with the stairs. I'm going to start with the bottom because you won't really see those because the chances of even big behemoth characters knocking over an entire stairwell intact is very slim, so that's not going to be a thing. I'm going to practice on the bottom here. Let me get one of my dry brushes. I have several kinds. This is the kind that's just a basic blush brush from, I got this at Dollar Tree. These make really good dry brushes, but you can also, if you want to get a slightly different look, you can take one of these and trim it down to where it still has the same amount of flexibility in the bristles, but they don't flex as far because they're just shorter and they're more compacted together. I tend to use both of these for different things. So I don't know which one I'm going to use tonight. Let me open my rinse water. My little skull and crossbones to remind me, don't drink the rinse water. I've never actually drunk my paint water. I know some people have done that. I have, though, rinsed out my paintbrush in my tea. So it's kind of the same thing. Oh, no. People borrowed my stuff and didn't bring it back. That's a problem. I literally chased down somebody that borrowed my heat gun this week and got it back, but it's back up there now. No. I'm going to borrow this. Yeah, borrow means like an hour, not, yeah, I need that back, buddy. All right, so it doesn't take very much, and you do want to start with dry bristles, but I want to cram some paint into the bristles, but then wipe off. Oh, I just broke my brush. Oh, didn't know that was an option. All right, we're going to do a super duper high-tech fix here. Now this is duct tape. Duct tape is designed to be on water, so when I go to rinse out the brush, this should, always in air quotes, should not come loose. There you go, like it never happened. Can't even tell the difference. Okay, so cram paint in it, wipe off most of that. Oh, one of the things I was going to do this week and did not get to was make myself a dry brush palette. What it is a bunch of textures on a flat surface, and you rub the brush over it to find out how it's looking. And they're super simple. Maybe I'll do that on next week's thing. Anyway, so you want to make sure that there's almost no paint in this. You can test on your hand. And then you want to take that, and this is just to get the highlights. Ooh, I actually don't have enough paint in that. Who knew? All right. Like I said, you really want to fill the bristles, but then wipe them almost completely dry. But you want paint in between them. Not enough that it's going to glob. So, yeah, that's be better. There we go. Okay. Yeah. See what I mean about globbing? This is why I test it first. So I don't get too much in here. Yeah, there we go. Now, I find that once I get it set and it's starting to work, I can dab in, brush off, and it tends to work without globbing again. But that's just me. Maybe I have brush luck. I have no idea. Okay, so that's enough of that. I don't really need to be dry brushing the bottom. So let's add some more in here. And just going to start in on it. Now, this is a final highlight. So you kind of want to come from the top down. I say that every time, and then I end up swirling it. So do what I say, not what I do. Let's get that a little more centered. There we go. Sorry, that's a little wobbly for a second. Stop that. All right. Really? Now, while it's still wet, you can wipe it off, and then it always dries lighter than it goes on. So, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. I say that, and then there we go. See why I end up going back and forth and swirling it anyway? Yeah, whatever. Okay, start from the top here. So this is pretty much the rest of the night. So if you're bored already, well, bye. But I won't hold that against you. If you're here for the chill stream and you just want to watch paint go on something, well, that's what we're doing. All right. Yeah, paintbrush into the tea. I do that one. I don't really drink coffee, but yeah, paintbrush into the drink. I do that all the time. I don't tend to drink the paint water, but I tend to do it the other way around. Yeah, and by tend to, I mean literally. I've probably done it 40 or 50 times in my life. I learn from my mistakes, but I forget over time. I've been doing this a long time, so I do a lot of stuff, and I'll just forget and be like, oh, right, shouldn't have done that. I always feel like Hagrid. Oh, shouldn't have said that. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah, there we go. You know what I mean? Because then you can just get it on the tips again, smack it off the tips again, and then good highlights to go. All right, now let's get the stairs. And I'm literally just highlighting that. And I try to get a little bit more in. Whoop, that's too much more. A little bit more in the middle because it makes it look like they're more worn. And I will be putting dirt and lichen and such in the corners. And so there's no point in those being really light in the edges. The top one, it's the most, just because, well, it's unbleached and all that. All right. I don't know why I'm even bothering back here. Okay, so that's one down. Only 32 of those, 16 of those, and 4 more of those. So yeah, 42, no, 30, 48, 38, 20, 52 things some more to go. Woo! All right. I want to get this roadway out of the way. These are a little flimsy, but the way I did them, that's not, I don't necessarily suggest this. I'm going to do my next batch a different way. So I'm actually going to leave that on there when I dry brush it. That way I don't end up jacking it up. Let's see. Yeah, hanging out and socializing. It's good. There's a Twitch streamer I watch. He used to do crafting stuff. I hesitate to even mention that because he's pretty much out of that business. He's recently closed down his shop and stuff. He used to sell MDF pre-cut kits and stuff so that you could order them and get them. But everybody went to virtual when COVID and all that. So it hit his business, and he's opted for different things in life now, and has recently gotten out of it. But anyway, I have been watching him since then. So now he streams a video game called Star Citizen, not sponsored. I don't know why you would, but I'm always open to offers. And his streams are super chill. He's not, I got to do the thing. He's always like, yeah, let's see what goes on today. And so, yeah, hanging out and chilling. And he's getting a growing following. So I guess other people enjoy the just hanging out and having a good time thing as well. So I'm with you. Yeah, I don't watch any Twitch streamers paint minis. There is one guy I watch that I actually found out about from a feel-good channel I watch, and they talked about a really wholesome thing where this guy was sitting on alone, and some guy was like, well, let's just see if we can find any Twitchers who are streaming to nobody, and found this guy. And the guy's like super nice, and he's had some problems. He's got some medical issues. He had issues with family, and he's just super nice. And what he does is he's got multiple cameras on his side. Like I can't do this over here. Like go down the side here, where he's got things printing all the time, 3D printing, and he is painting in the main thing and talking back. And he went from like 10 or like less than 100 subscribers to multiple thousands overnight because this other big channel talked about him. And the guy is super nice. So if you get a chance to check out there's numbers at the end that I don't remember, but if you look him up, his name's Ugly Moo 45 or 54 or something like that. Anyway, if you look up Ugly Moo on Twitch, you'll find him. And I watch his a lot too because it's super chill. He's just sitting there painting stuff he likes to paint. He does sell individual pieces. I don't think he commissions. I think he just builds them and then sells them. And he answers back. He's got his audio prompt set up way better than I do, so that he hears every message that comes in. It actually reads it back to him, and he's responding in real time while he's doing it. And just a super nice guy. So if you get a chance, go check out Ugly Moon. You won't be in the first 100 like I was, but you'll be in the first 100,000. So that's okay. But again, super chill stuff. And that's the only thing I really watch. Sometimes it's more like background noise, but sometimes I interact and just, have a good time. What else we got? One just for the team. Okay, so they're painting all my hero quest mini. Yeah, and they've been looking fantastic. Getting them to what I feel is decent tabletop. Yeah, tabletop standard's good. 3 foot fabulous, as some people call it. I like that. The problem is we paint things like this close to them all the time. And so we're really worried about it. But they're on the table like this far away. So they only got to be, good enough. No stress in that. So Hero Quest board. Yeah, if you're going to build a Hero Quest board, I suggest looking at Max DM Crafts. Maximilian has Massimiliano, I think his name is. Max has a whole Hero Quest thing. He's a huge Hero Quest fan, and he built himself a Hero Quest board. But there's a lot of good Hero Quest samples out there if you want to try to figure it out yourself, or just wing it yourself and make it completely your own. Either way, you know where to post pictures on my Discord, so I'll be looking for those. And I know you post like 8 other places, LC, so I'll be looking for it there too. Oh, God. Okay. I don't even really need to get these sides, since these will probably be buried behind stuff all the time. But what are you going to do? Sometimes I may just use it as a platform. Mate. That's a word, but I'm not using it right. I might, or I may, use it as a platform at some point, but you never know. So I guess I'll get all the corners, all the sides, all the little nooks and crannies. All right. Now, this will get a darker wash on it after a while. Still don't think the top is light enough. And then I'll fill it with sand, and then this will be done. This is designed to basically match my city blocks and my streets. It's the same height as my streets, not as my blocks. So my blocks are like 1 layer taller than this, like that. No, that's not true. That's not true, because these are designed to be on the platform. So yeah, this is platform height. This is exactly 3 inches. So they're designed to sit like that. And if I had 8 of these and 1 of these, I can make like a whole platform that this can step onto. So that's the point of these. Let me put these 2 out of the way, since they're already done. All right, and it's going to get really repetitive from now on out. I got 3 of these stairs, then I got 16 of these flat boards, and then I got 32 of these. So get ready for a lot of the same. And y'all may have to remind me when it's coming up on the hour, because I realize we've already burned a half an hour, and I'll just keep going. So you got to remind me if it gets up to that point. Okay. People borrow my Mac. Last time I used a paintbrush in my drink. Never drink paint water. First time I ever put brush in drink. Ever my brush liquor. Oh yeah, I don't lick my brushes. I don't use those kinds of brushes. So yeah, who knows how many bristles you've digested there, LC. It's acrylic paint. I figure it's probably not all that bad for you, but you probably got a big ball of plastic in you, so that's all right. At least you have macroplastics instead of microplastic. Yeah, bump the squares up to 1 1/4 inches. That's a good plan. Make them a little more effective to fit minis in. I build a 1/48 scale, which means 1 inch is 4 feet, not 5. So unlike D&D, so for me, 1 1/4 is 5 feet. So I used to build to 1 1/2 inch on my grid if I bothered to grid, but now I just don't grid anything This is gridded, but that's only because it looks better with tiles. It gets really boring if it's just a solid plate. But this doesn't have to be like this. I could have put bricks around the outside edge and then filled the inside with turf and made it look like this was a grassy park square or anything like that. I have plans to make like 10 different versions of this. So, yeah, Max's stuff is good. He's not working on that right now, but his board was really nice. All over Discord, yeah. Yeah, Discord. I don't use Instagram enough. I usually don't even remember to post stuff to the Insta. I don't know. You just lick him to get him to a point. You're on that form. If you could swallow a brick, it would still come out. Well, good to know. So that's a thing we now know. I've now told the entire interwebs. You're welcome. Oh, and I figured out the thing. So this chat will be broadcast with the videos from now going forward because I realized what thing I had said. So now the entire internet is going to know that. So thanks for oversharing. Yeah, and acrylics are not going to stay anyway because it's basically a plastic, so it wants to slide along anyway. So yeah, that's oh, this paint's, for me thinking this paint was dry, it's already getting a skin on it. I mean, it was wet. It's already getting a skin on it. I guess it wasn't as dry as I thought. All right, I guess I better get on my way. Ooh, overdid that. And now that know that I've got to get like 45 pieces done, 50-something pieces done tonight, I am so not caring about little stuff like this because worst case scenario, I can come back by with the wash and just go over it several times and it'll hide. So, okay, maybe that's a little much. Why did I just use spit when I've got water right here? All right. God dang, bud. Talking to the brush like it's alive. Yeah, okay. That Cross guy, his brain is gone. He's talking to his paintbrushes. Like, you don't watch him much, do you? He's done that for years. I just realized I forgot to get the fronts of these. So. Yeah, Cross has been nuts for years, decades maybe. That guy's weird as hell. I don't know. He's funny because I like making fun of him when he does stupid stuff like stick his paintbrush in his drink. Ha ha ha. Having entire... Oh, that's how I got that messed up thing earlier. I see. Yeah, close enough. Okay, so we'll be more careful on this side and only go a certain amount down and not actually get as much on the stairs. There we go. That's a better result. So I have a funny thing. I used to watch a lot of British comedy growing up, and there were certain British expressions that I used that are no longer used because the Brits have moved on. And I said something the other day, and one guy goes, "Good Lord, you are a grandpa." And I'm like, "What? Saying's older than I am." He goes, "Yeah, but you're still using it." I said, "Result." And he was like, "Dude, are you my granddad?" Like, "No, I am your granddad. Search your feelings. You know it's true." It's not true. I'm nobody's granddad. I don't even have kids. Now, that having been said, if you're having family issues over certain things, I'm your granddad now. If you have problems with family and you don't want to deal with them, I'll tell you granddad advice. It won't be good, but I can tell it to you. With authority. Not granddad authority, but age authority anyway. Don't know why I'm painting the bottom when no one will ever see. I mean, people might see it, but not during a game. Yeah. Just wasting time. Okay, that does not look... Ever use the screen as a magnifying glass? Yeah, I do that. It's really, I've got lighting coming from like 8 different directions in here, and it's really weird, but from here, it's all straight on, so that makes it easier. Talk to myself all the time. Best feedback I get most of the time. Yeah. Now I've said, why do you go to the bathroom so much? Yeah, that's I have a bladder the size of a walnut. Now the entire internet knows that. I'm familiar with that, but not from the metformin side. I can drink 20 ounces of soda. I hardly ever drink soda, but I can drink 20 ounces of soda and have to go pee out a liter. You do the conversion. Let's see. Talk to myself all the time. Bigger squares like Wylock. Yeah. And when I saw Wylock was one of the first other crafters I saw when I started doing this, but I was already using the 1.5 grid since before that. And as soon as I saw him talking about the 1 1/4, I was like, oh, he makes some good points, but bigger. Let's do it bigger. So yeah, I completely understand that. Like I said, I build generally to 1/48, but I have gotten in the last couple years where I don't care so much about the scale, and I'm much more into rule of cool. If it looks cool and it looks like it fits most of my minis, done. I don't. Oh, good Lord. I don't sweat the small. I build toward 1/48, and if I get it wrong or I have to adjust something, well, then I built it wrong and I have to adjust something. Oh, didn't get on this side. Get under here as well. All right. What are we doing on the front? Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Yeah, you just turned 50. You are one of the young ones. I don't know why they think you're old. You're young. I just had a hatching day, and I'm now 56. Don't say happy birthday. I don't do that. So yeah, I'm always pleasantly surprised when I find somebody else in this hobby that's older than me. I'm like, sweet. Not the only. I used to say grognard because to me it just meant old guy, but now I realize that it has a negative connotation because it means person who's stuck in their ways and all of that. And I don't even play D&D, much less according to the old school D&D rules. So I don't use that rule anymore. But I'm not stuck in my ways on the rules. But I have been playing role-playing games since basically they came out. Not they came out, but since they hit the public at large. Yeah, I've been playing since maybe 78, definitely 79. So I'm not doing the math on that. Was that 53 years, 56 years, 50? I don't know. I'm not doing the math. So old, playing a long time, and I'm always pleasantly surprised when somebody else is nearish my age. Worries me though. All those guys that invented role-playing games weren't that much older than me, and most of them have died off. I'm like, well, I guess I don't have that many years of playing left in me. I'll be one of the last few that I played it back in the day, and then we'll all be gone. Probably good riddance. There's a lot of weirdness with old players that I just can't get my head around, but I'm not going to get into the political discussion. I just there's too much gatekeeping. That's it. That's not really political. There's too much gatekeeping. Now, you're not doing it right, blah, blah. Nah. If somebody's having fun, you're playing it right. It doesn't matter. Well, we didn't get the treasure. Well, did you have a good time trying to get the treasure? Yeah. I've seen people have TPKs with characters they've had for 8 or 10 years and been like, whoa, that was amazing. My guy's a hero forever. They're going to tell his stories for decades. And I'm like, so as long as you're having a good time, you win. It doesn't matter about any of the rest of it. So these people that are like, no, you're doing it wrong. No, you're doing it wrong because just have fun. That's all it's about. Yeah, that looks good. I still keep feeling like I missed a spot, but I know I got it all. All right. I think I'm just feeling that because it's the last one. So that is all 4 of my stairs and that city block done. So moving right along. I don't have anywhere to sit this. I really don't have any place to sit this. There we go. Okay. Now, these are just rock slabs. I will show you what types of things you can do with these in a minute. But let me get them off of this board. I don't know why they're sticking. They were only washed. They shouldn't be sticking like that. Whatever. Okay, and I got 16 of these. I mostly made 16 because they fit on the board. All right, so these can be used by themselves. You can use them as, just stack them for different things. You can make ad hoc impromptu stairs. You can create backdrop walls. You can create dungeon walls with them, but they're not really stable for that. You can use them to make, oops, you can get them to balance right. You can make little bridges and plinths and things. Oh, whoops, there we go. You can use them in conjunction with the other things because you can have those. You can have a bridge like that. You can take these and stand these up like this, and you can make all spot. So yeah, basically, you understand the concept of modularity. So that's what all these are for. All right, so same deal. In a dry brush, toss to the side. Dry brush, toss to the side. I'm not really worried about the edges so much. Basically, if I get the top and the edges, then the sides will take care of themselves, I think, pretty much. So this really is getting dry. So let me get a couple of drops of water on my paint here. No, y'all can't see that. Oh, come on now. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's a little more liquidy. Oh, that's a lot of paint there. Oh, that changes that a lot. All right. Almost not a dry brush, but we'll figure that out on the way. Okay, there we go. Because that's going to dry out pretty quick, and then back to where we were. All right, let's reduce some of that excess and test on self. Oh, and then I overdid it. All right, test on self. There we go. Okay, and immediately missed. All right, so then all I'm trying to do is just pick out the edges of where I bash these with a rock, literally a chunky rock with lots of little knobbly bits to get all these holes in it. This started off as smooth XPS foam. That's the insulation foam, and I'm literally just trying to show off the rockiness of it. That is it. I'm not trying to make these tan in any way. I'm using a tan paint for those of you who missed that at the beginning. All right, so get the 8 edges. And all of the surface. Go a couple different directions. That's it. Good to go. That one's done. That's done. That's going on my table like that. Done. Now, only 15 more. Get the edges. That worked really well. So let's do the edges again. All right. Give me a second, and then I will look at the chat again. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, with HeroQuest, you're going by square, not by inch. It doesn't matter. The scale, you're just going, it's a interpretation. So yeah, I can see how just squares rather than inches would be a better way to go with that. The best times are usually the crazy stories you tell about how spectacularly succeeded or failed doing something in a game. Yeah, exactly. Some of my favorite ones are stuff where it's like completely derailed the GM with just random stuff that happened, which at the time was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And here I am telling a story 20 years later because it's like, oh, that was kind of super cool. Yeah. So the craziness is, but if your character goes out in a big ass blaze of glory and you're like, whoa, and then he took out the thing. And when he blasted the bridge and his friends got away, and he took the Balrog down into the depths with him. That's a good stop. Like, Gandalf could have stopped right there. Glad he didn't. The rest of the story goes on with Gandalf is kind of, nifty, but that would have been, fine. Like, woohoo, I took out the big bad by destroying this jump and saved all my buddies. And it's still a good game. Even though you lost, the player didn't lose. Made some low stone walls a few years back, mostly to be modular scattered from any game, then realized I could use them as walls to represent the walls. Then, yeah, exactly. You can use lots of stuff for different stuff than you actually intended it for. And it all works out in the end. I don't build, there's things that I've built that weren't intended to be modular that I've used in like 100 different scenarios. Cool idea for an adventure using them. I had people wanted to play D&D, got it mostly ready, then never have been. Oh yeah, that's always the thing, especially after COVID and the way things have changed now. People are less direct face-to-face social. So the, yeah, things have changed. I prefer to sit across the table where I can, throw dice at people if they mess up or whatever. What's his name? Gareth. DMG. DMG had a whole series a while back where he was making decor that you could use, where you could take a webcam like this and point it down at the piece of cardboard, and the way he had it set at angles, it made it look almost like a movie set where it stopped just out of camera range, but you couldn't see that. And he had a whole, you set the camera angle, you figure out exactly what type, where its focal cone is, and you build to that, and then you can, and that would work for virtual terrain, for your players could at least get an idea for what you were talking about. But to me, it's literally, it's not worth the effort of trying to, because you'd have to change it every scene and all that. And I don't know. I used to do theater and build sets in high school and college for school theater and community theater, and those were the whole play. When you have stuff where the scenes change, you have to fly things out of the way. That's called flying, when you raise things up into the roof. Fly things out of the way and all that. It's such a pain, even if you're doing the set pieces. I don't mean set pieces. I mean the pieces that are set for the scenes that are set in the play itself. And you're going to be doing like the same 8 scenes every night or whatever. That's even a pain. But when it's on the fly, I just never bothered to do it that way. I have not actually played in a single game since before Corona started. Okay, so here's the difference. This one's been done. This one hasn't. This would be good if you're going for something dismal and dark and sinister and all that. You could also put some OSL on this if you're using using this as lava rock, or having it lit by torches or whatever. But for just a basic stone, this will be more useful for what I'm doing. So this is what I'm doing. I'm highlighting these to this with dry brushing tonight. That's basically the gist of it. All right. Oh, fireball substitute with live sheep. That cannot end well. That's. I'm about to tell some horrible, horrible jokes here about cats and dogs. How do you make a cat say woof? Kerosene. I'm not going to explain that. You can figure that out and laugh on your own. If you laugh, you're a horrible, horrible person, and one like mine, and welcome to the crowd. So how do you make a dog say meow? Tack it to a board and a bandsaw. Meow. I told you, they're horrible jokes. Notice, I do not recommend doing this. Just for the joke value. I am a graveside humor sort of guy. Okay. Maybe I do want to do these edges. These are pretty good. These are not. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that one's pretty good. Didn't need that last one. Yeah. Okay, y'all are good. Talking to my pieces of foam. As you do, I suppose. Dungeon I had was designed to look like ruins from the outside, but they were magically cursed, so when you stepped in, they became a spectral version of what they once were. Oh, that's kind of cool. Every time you left a section, the DM, would roll dice to see what section of the ruins you ended up in. So they spent a lot of time randomly exploring until they found a magic key. Yeah, I've set up a mechanic. I actually borrowed a mechanic from a game and spiffed up on it, where it was every time they would go through a teleporter, they would or one of these little portals, they would make progress, but it wasn't changing the look of it. It was just within the same area. They would make progress, but sometimes they would end up backtracking. And they first learned it because they went back to this one room and they were like, yeah, we've already been here because I recognize that dead guy in the corner. And they went through the same door and they were going to, turn left instead of right. And they went through the same door they had left by the first time and went to a different room. And we're like, wait a minute. And that's when they realized that they had to, there was actually a stabilization relic that would, if they had been to a room before, it would let them go there, but it would also let them go someplace they had not been before. So they eventually used up all of the rooms and then could make their way through. But that involved having to build about 8 different rooms, but they were in each one on their own little platform, kind of like this, like these kind of platforms. And I had a room set on it. So when they went to a different room, I just took that and moved it out of the way and set it back down. And they weren't all built out. It was like the interior of the room, and I just said there's a wall around it. There were smaller platforms in this. Used to do a lot of the platformy sort of thing that I don't really think that way anymore. But again, I haven't run a game in a while. I might go right back into that if I was running games. Right now, I've been writing a game, so I haven't really been concentrating on trying to find a gaming group. Once I have it more fleshed out, I will need play testers and all that. But again, that's going to be in real life things. I'll probably try to find pickup games for my FLGSs or see if there's a local online community I can get in. I probably should go ahead and start that just to get that going. Or if I got any really, really crazy rich friends that just want to travel to Atlanta or Daytona and come play with me, that'd be kind of cool. But most of my friends live in other countries and stuff. And I'm going to leave that there for political reasons, but they live in other countries, and so that would be problematic. In our current situation. But I have friends from Oklahoma and California and Oregon, and I just found out that 2 of my friends who didn't realize it both realized yesterday. They both live in Montana. They live in different, I've been to Montana. I don't know that cities is the right word. Different, what's the word I use in my game? Municipalities. And so they're not particularly close to each other, but I mean, they're both in Montana, so it's way closer than I am to either of them. So I could maybe get somebody to come down here. I've got friends in the Carolinas. I've got friends in Tennessee. I could maybe put together a game if I wanted. But again, there's always local game shops and stuff like that, and they have pickup games. They got gaming tables and stuff. So, one of these days. But right now, I don't have enough time. If I've got time for gaming, I'd rather be writing than playing at this moment. So, Paul's rooms, every time you go through a door to roll to see where they go and popped up. Yeah, so you walk through a door. Yeah, exactly. Did you have it creating on the fly? Did they stay static once they found them, or was it randomized? backpack through the same door, but you might end up not in the same room. Oh yeah. So it's semi-random. Yeah, that's almost exactly like I was doing mine. That's very cool. Yeah. Like I said, I had a finite thing because I only made so many rooms, and at one point they were like, "Oh, okay, we've got everything." Everything in between was connecting halls, and those were pretty much generic. So yeah. Oh, yep, I knew I had too much paint in that one. All right, let's get some of that out of there. Oh, I just painting my cutting board. All right. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. I am gonna continuing to do this. I can do this for another half hour and then let y'all go, or I can take off now. But I've got a bunch of these to do. I probably will not get all of them tonight because, well, I'm hungry and I haven't eaten all day. So I will be going offline within a half an hour, and I will probably not be painting after that anyway. I will try to get these done during the rest of this week so that I'm not doing this at you again next week. I have not discussed anything about what I can do for next week, so I have no idea what I'm going to do for next week. Now, last week I did say I was going to build that hut that I showed at the beginning of the video, but I also said I might build some blast doors and a room to go with them. So I may do that on my stream next week. And I think I will do that because that lets me decide right now what I'm doing next week, and I don't have that looming over my head. And then I can be thinking about designs for the blast door over the rest of the week. Not the blast door. The blast door I've got pretty much down. The design for the room around it. It's going to have a graded floor and stuff like that. So got to figure out how to do that because that's going to need to be a somewhat sunk floor. So I can put the grading on the floor and like maybe use some repurposed electrical wires as pipes and plumbing and stuff underneath. So I think I will do that. So I'm going to keep doing this for a half hour unless anybody is just bored out of their mind and just wandering off. And then after about another half an hour of this, I am going to go eat something. But for right now, the dry brushing continues. I will definitely get these squares done. And then I think I am going to call that an evening. I don't think I'm going to start on the stairwells because I don't want to get halfway through the stairwells and then stop. I'm going to leave those for all at one time. So I'll do that probably Tuesday, but not on camera. I might do it on camera. I don't do impromptu live streams really. I guess I could. But I like to do Sunday night, I'll be there, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I should do a patrons only thing, but my patrons never seem to specifically want like a one-on-one session or anything. If they do, they know where to reach me. It's on the Discord. I've got a patrons only section, and they can tell me there, and I can maybe swing something like that. I don't mind doing that. So. That's too much. Let's get some of that out. There we go. Oh my gosh. Why are you killing me here? Oh, I just broke it again. That's all right. It's already broken. I'll take the tape off and epoxy it later. Because I don't want to have to trim another one to fit like this. So I'm not throwing this out. Okay, I am. Oh, I spoke ahead of myself. I'm not that far yet. Give me just a second. Okay, now I am 3/4 of the way done with these squares. Now, this is one that's freshly done. This is one that was done a while ago. You see what I mean about they darken up as it dries? So it doesn't look like it because I can touch it, nothing comes off. But this is still technically wet. I can feel that it's tacky. This one's done. They've both been dry brushed. This one has dried and has gone back dark, but it's not as dark as it was before I started it. So this is what I'm going for. This will be there in about 10 minutes after it dries. This one is now about to get the first coat. Too much, too much, too much. There we go. Edge, 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 edge. I mean side and edge and side and edge and top. There we go, just like that. One more in the can. Move this stack out of the way so I got room to sit them down. I hope some of this is on camera because I am a professional. All right, let's see. What can I talk about? Oh, I saw a movie recently, which I honestly can't remember the name of. If you come to the Discord, I will try to look it up that way. But it was really cool. It was kind of a hokey 90s, fairly independent sort of film. It was only like $1 million budget. Had a lot of actors that were not at all phoning it in. They were definitely involved in the project. It was really cool. But the thing that I remember is the plot was kind of interesting. It jumped around a little bit. It's time travel-y stuff, so that's going to happen. But they had flying ships. And the flying ships are really cool. They were just like ships that flew, but they had like extra sails and stuff at the bottom of them and things. But other than that, they just looked like a sail. And they did a really good thing. You really believed it in the movie. You're like, okay, so they found a flying ship and they're going to fly this thing one off, and this one was wrecked on the thing, but they managed to get it back in the air and blah, blah, blah. And they never explain how they fly at all. Never. They never even touch on it. Magic, mechanics, nothing. You kind of get the impression that there's sort of an alchemical, semi-magical thing. Is there's this other big MacGuffin in the thing, huge, monstrous MacGuffin in the movie that's done with sort of, they built it and it works kind of thing. And so I figured the ships kind of work on the whole similar concept. But I was like, I tend to build too much sciencey thing of this is the way magic works. You get this many grams of this many additives and you put them together and ta-da, potion. And that movie really made me go, maybe stuff just, works. So I'm creating multiple worlds from our game. So I think I'm going to have at least some of them where the magic is symbolic. You kind of have to have the right idea and you have to be in the right mentality. You have to put the right mana into it. But as long as you're focused on the thing, the outcome will come out. And so it just gave me a lot to think about. I'm trying to remember what the thing is. Something about across all time or for all time or something like that. Come on to my Discord. Please come on to my Discord. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on this video, but also come to my Discord if you want to ask about it, and I'll find the name of it there. But I started watching it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be hokey, but I like the guy that made it, so I'm going to watch his stuff, and I was thoroughly hooked. By halfway through the movie, I'm like, yeah, get that guy. All into the thing and do the thing and things that happen. Oh no, that's going to happen to that guy. I hate to see that happen. Anyway, but it gave me a lot to think about. Sometimes you don't have to explain how the magic ships work. There's just magic ships. Now, if I make some of my worlds symbolic and some of them not, that's going to make it. It's going to be very, 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 very difficult and unlikely that any characters will ever travel between worlds, like the same character. Like you'll start a different game when you play the other worlds. But in case they do, it could be a very different thing. Like their magic may or may not work because that's just not how magic's done in that world. So I have to give this a lot of thought. But that's a future me problem. That's not for tonight. That's just back of my head mulling over. All right, let me get these sides here. Okay, I think I've got one more to do. Yep. Okay, and that's all of these flat pieces, so I'm pretty much done. But let me take a look at the chat, see if I've missed anything. Nope, we are pretty much caught up on that. So this is kind of a waste of paint. I am. I'm such a cheapskate that I like to save everything, and I realize I don't need to save this. I realize I don't, but I still do stuff like this. So don't sweat the small stuff. Don't do stuff like I'm doing right now. Like I said, do what I say. Don't do what I do. Okay. You in the water. Put you in the water. Put you on the bottle. Okay. You I never used, so you can go over there. Oh, spilling water everywhere. Oh no. Doesn't really matter if I'm spilling water everywhere because that's the paint board. Okay. Now, I could go actually wash this off. There's not very much paint in my paint water, so I think I'm going to leave that for this time. Make sure my knife's all nice and clean and pretty. And oh, now there's more paint in the paint water. There's a lot of paint in those bristles. Okay. I am very much mistreating this brush. I'm literally grinding it into the bottom of the paint water and spinning it. And don't really care because this is my stippling on brush anyway. So now, as long as I can squeeze that and make sure that not too much paint's coming in, it's clean enough, that's gonna be fine. Every once in a while, I take my brushes like this and I clean them with like alcohol or something. But like I said, this one doesn't really need it. Now, since I broke my brush and I taped it, and the tape is now kind of giving away, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take that off so I can be prepared to epoxy it later. But I think that is it for the night. Let me set this out of the way so I don't get anything in the wet paint. Let me close this so I don't be dumb and knock it over. And now you're literally watching me peel tape. Isn't that fun? Okay. Yeah, I have recently gotten to the point of putting paint in the bigger paints, like when I'm doing a lot of white or a lot of green for a base coat, and putting those into smaller bottles like this with the little nibs on them, and squirting that out like that. I have zero budget, so I can't really afford new paints and all that type of stuff. Literally the money that comes from the Patreon goes mostly toward hot glue, because I use hot glue for everything. So mostly I use it to buy glue sticks. So I don't have paint money, and I certainly don't have paint brush money. Luckily, the Dollar Tree still has 7 packs and 9 packs of paintbrushes for $1.25, whatever. Okay, get off of me. Oh yeah, it's not broken all the way through, but yeah, I'm wondering if super glue will fix that. Nah, it's gonna be too brittle. I think what I will end up doing is I've got some fabric tape that's more than the duct tape, and I think I may use that and put on here because it's not. Oh, now it's broken all the way through. Okay, good. Now I can see it better. Oh, good. Oh, that's actually hot glue in there originally. So what I could do is kind of fill this, fill that, squidge it together, wipe out any, or let it cool, and then cut off any squeeze out, and then retape it. So I think that's what I'll do. I certainly don't want to get rid of this, and there's no way I'm using this little stubby thing like this. So we will fix this, but that is a future me problem. I am not doing that tonight. Sit that in 2 pieces so I don't forget that it's 2 pieces next time. I'll go try to pick it up. All righty. Let me switch over here so you can see me. Oops. Turn that off so you're not all blind. All right. Yeah, I can't stand. I don't like dropper bottles. I like it to be spread out because I use a lot of wider brushes, and I don't want to try to get the brush in the little dropper. So I will still put it on like as you saw, a sheet of food card or something like that. And I'm showing it to the wrong camera. Sheet of food card or something like that so that I can paint from a wider thing. I can't stand the little pots of any kind. I don't like the itty bitty bottles. I don't use minis. I don't paint minis. So I don't have any mini paints. I don't like the droppers, and I can't stand the little pop open tops where the lid stays on it. I don't have a brush small enough to fit in there. So, but I can see why they would be useful, why they would be helpful, especially for painting minis. I don't do that. So, yeah. Let's see where we are. Okay, and that's it. I seem to be caught up on the chat. Thank you all for coming. If this is your first time, again, welcome. This is Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is the basement. You're welcome to come back anytime. If you have been here before and you are returning, that makes you one of my campaigners. You're here for the campaign, and I love that. Either way, brand new, been here 100 times, love all of it. We're all in this together. We're all just trying to have fun on a tabletop. Sounded wrong, but you know what I mean? And we're all pulling for each other. So we're all in this together. I hope I can inspire. That's my big goal, is to inspire. If you happen to learn some techniques in the meantime, that's great too. I give lots of shout outs to other channels, because there's no reason to hide somebody else's flame to try to make mine brighter. We're all in it together. And so, yeah, like I said, we're all crafters or enjoying the crafting. So we're in it together. I love you. Until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, both on the table and in real life. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. Thanks for coming to Campaign Terrain. You have a great night.